Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Modern Practical Guide to a Positive Full Life with your host, me, your go to friend. What we're going to talk about today is reflection. Reflection is I found very difficult to convey to other people. So, bear with me because reflection means different things to different people. Um, Basically, to start off, there's never a better time to reflect than now, and you should be reflecting every day. Um, so let me just start off by saying that. But the way you reflect or what that means might be a little different for everybody, and that's okay. And it might actually be different for you depending on the day you have. So um, that's okay too. In other words, there's no right way to reflect. It's basically time you take to think and process your life, right? Things happen to us. When are we supposed to understand, analyze, process? This is the time you do that. Now, I know people are going to say, I don't have time, blah, blah, blah. But if you cannot make 5 minutes in your day and set it aside to reflect, you have big problems. You need to stop and get grounded, because if you cannot set aside 5 minutes in a day, constantly, every day, then you have big problems. And it's okay, but in those instances, I always say sometimes you have so many fires going on in your house that you might just want to let the house burn down. I know it sounds crazy, but then rebuild from there. Because if you're always putting out fires and you don't have 5 minutes yourself, you're never going to get ahead. You're never going to have a good foundation. It's not going to work. So keep that in mind. But it's basically that. It's if you want to start now, and you just have to take 5 minutes, and take 5 minutes that you can take all the time. I recommend first 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning. If you find that difficult to find time, then look at time which are already doing things, um, and like showering. You can't really do much in the shower besides washing yourself. So take that time and reflect. Now, if you have difficulty reflecting because there's so much, just just think. Just start with gratitude. I always tell people, if you're having difficulty where to start with gratitude. And I'm going to go into that. I'm going to go into the how, what, where, why, when. But just to start, again, schedule it. Do I recommend doing first thing, and you just have to take 5 minutes out of your day. But make sure you're taking it seriously and you're doing the 5 minutes constantly every day. Now, how do you do it? I'm going to go more specifically into that. Um, there's lots of different ways of doing it. You can do meditation. You can listen to meditation apps. It's about getting into your own head. I prefer reflection in which I'm just thinking about what I did today, how I'm doing, um, and I try to always start. I have two reflections. It could be short. It could be sometimes just 2 minutes. Sometimes it's a way longer. Sometimes it could be an hour. But I set aside, just 5 minutes when I wake up and 5 minutes before I go to bed. And the 5 minutes in the morning is about setting a tone of appreciation, of gratitude. A lot of times I'm thinking, I have to do this, I have to do that. That's okay, but a lot of times I'm trying to do that in a way that's like, well, I do have this big opportunity. It's really stressful. I have to do a lot, and I have to plan my day out, and I'm taking that time right there to be like, okay, today I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this. But instead of being like, I'm more, wow, I have an amazing opportunity. This is a lot of pressure, but it's gonna give me this opportunity to really show my work, show my value. So it's about grounding your first meditation in, I believe, gratitude and appreciation. It's going to set a positive tone for the rest of your day. It's very important. And you can do it different ways. This is what I'm recommending, okay? So don't feel like you have to do it this way. Um, Once you get comfortable, you can extend those 5 minutes. Some people are like, whoa, I had no idea. I was thinking so much. And a lot of times because it's this noise in the back. We have constant noise, and we can't think. We can't do things because all this stuff is back there. And this gives you time to just think it through and be like, oh, I don't have to worry about that, or that I can't do anything about it. So what's the point of worrying about it and just letting it go? Or wow, that means I have underlying issues there that I emotionally react to, blah, 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 and then processing that. But if you don't know, then it doesn't work. Um, and that goes back to I want to go back to scheduling. Make sure you're doing it at a certain time every day. If it's a movable time, that's fine, like a shower. But if you shower every day, then you can do that. But if you shower less than that, then it might not work. So try to do something that you're doing every day that's going to make it easier for you to transition into getting into that habit. Um, Once you feel comfortable doing one in the morning and setting that tone, and you can see, it might help you plan or schedule stuff, then I would recommend going and doing one in the afternoon. Um, and again, just do 5 minutes right before you go to bed and just try to wind down. I always try to take the opportunity in the afternoon is to just let go of the bad things that happened that day. Just be like, wow, I really messed up that. Tomorrow I'm going to apologize. I really, screwed that up. But next time I'm going to do this. And there's no point in worrying about it, so I let it go. And other times, I just get angry and go for, a run or a swim or something and get out that, thing. But it's whatever I need. So it's whatever you need. I can't tell you exactly what that is. Um, because at the end of the day, no matter how bad it is, even if I had no power over it, I can learn something from it. Or at the very, very least, just let it go because it wasn't my fault, And the day's over. You can't do anything about it anymore, anyways, right? And if you can, then you can definitely, take that time to plan or fix it. If you do need to apologize or fix something like that. But I like to think about it. You're gathering information inside yourself, right? It's like imagine you're in this machine and you don't know how to control it. There's a bunch of buttons, but you don't know what they do. So when something happens, you can be like, oh, I was really angry today, or I was really in my mind about this thing. Why is that thing constantly in my mind? But the more you do it, you realize, oh, so whenever this happens or whenever I deal with this person, I have this emotional reaction. And then you can ask why once you get to the next step. And the more you do that, the more you start realizing, how you work, right? Because a lot of times we don't know how we're going to react to this or how do we deal with this or how we process this type of emotion. And so this is going to give you an opportunity and write it down. Before I forget, I recommend writing it down. You don't have to, but I do recommend writing it down so you can start seeing the pattern and understanding what you're doing. But it's not going to solve a problem per se, but it's going to give you the tools and the understanding to be able to solve it once instead of trying to solve it multiple times. And even if you have to solve it more than once, you're going to solve it, I believe, in an efficient manner. You're going to try the thing that most likely is going to work. And even if it doesn't work, you're going to learn from that and then be able to implement something new. Um, it is important to be in a good place inside because if you reflect and all you're having come out is negative, then it's only going to lead to negative thoughts and negative things. So, again, if you are struggling with that, look at some other videos, work on the first part of the core program about understanding yourself, accepting yourself, and loving yourself ultimately. But if you are struggling with that, try to base yourself on gratitude, on appreciation. You're trying to understand yourself, and then once you get there, you're trying to understand how others perceive you, or at least what you think. But what you're doing there is asking yourself, what does that person think of me? How do they feel? And that's going to help you. And this goes for most reflections. If you're having difficulty knowing how to base yourself, then base yourself on empathy. A lot of times, that's going to solve a lot of the misunderstandings, give you a clear perspective. The more you do this, what it's going to do is going to allow you to take your mind out of yourself. I know it sounds weird, but the more you do it, the easier it will become and the clearer things will be. Because a lot of times I say, if you're in your own painting, it's really hard to gauge your painting. But if you can step out and really see the whole painting, then you're really going to see what the issue is. And sometimes it's you, and sometimes it's not. But then that's when you just step away and say, I can't change that other person, and I'll try to help them. But if they don't want to, then they're not going to, and you just step away from it. But you won't know that until you step away from the pain because you're too involved in it, and you have to be able to take yourself out of that equation and see yourself and be like, wow, I'm really screwing that up. So the more you do it, that's where you're going to get to, and you're going to be able to evolve and be able to see things more clearly. Um, and some days, it's going to be about realizing not to worry about that thing because it's not worth worrying about, or because you can't worry about it, or because you can't control it. Other days, it's going to be about it's okay. You screwed up. You thought you were doing the best thing. You're going to learn from it, but you're going to let it go. Other days, it's going to be about understanding other people's perspective because you were so in your mind that you couldn't stop and try to understand the other person's perspective. And so that's why you clashed. Maybe that's why you didn't work out that day for you, whatever you're doing. Ultimately, it's about getting to know yourself better. You need to take that time. It doesn't happen automatically. A lot of people think they know themselves so well, but Most people don't. You don't know how you're going to react. So going through and understanding how you react is going to help you. Um, it's going to help you learn, grow, and understand what you need out of life. A lot of times, we think we know what we need, but it's really what we want, and they don't always coincide what you need with what you want. And the more you know about yourself, the more you are able to see yourself out of your own head and see how you react in certain situations, the better you'll be. And you'll understand, hey, if I want to get something done, this is what usually works. This is what I need to get this type of task done, and so on and so forth. And sometimes you're gonna be like, you know what? I tried doing that. I think it's good for me, but it's never good. So it's not worth investing time. Now I'm going to just go over some tips. These are just random recommendations that might work if you're struggling with certain things. But don't be intimidated by it. Start now. There's never a better time. I know it'd be better if you had finished the first part of the core program, and I won't lie, it probably will be. But start now. There's never a better time than now. Not You will not improve. You will not grow if you don't understand what you're thinking. If you don't understand you. And because it's the first step to getting to accept you and then loving yourself, right? And again, you're not going to get far if you don't know what you're dealing with. If you're in a place and you don't know what to do in it because you don't understand your surroundings, you're never going to do anything. You're just going to allow life to move you around. I'd rather control the controls, the buttons, the steering wheel, and understand how things work. Um, it will help with everything you do the more you understand yourself. So it's going to make everything easier, everything you do. And the more you do it, the more you're going to understand yourself, and the easier it'll be to stop yourself in the moment and be like, whoa, whoa, I always do this, you know? And you can just take a breath and be like, I'm not going to do that today. And so you'll be able to really, you are the most powerful thing in your world because you control completely yourself. And so the more you learn about yourself, the even more powerful you will be in being able to control it better. Um, and sometimes, through reflection, you're only going to learn something simple. Like it's going to be like, hey, whenever this happens, this is what happens. That's okay. Down the road, maybe a day, a week, a month, a year from now, you're going to be like, oh, this is the way I react to this, but this is why. Now I've seen a pattern. And then the next thing you'll be like, this is what works to not react that way. And then maybe later down the road, you'll be like, this is what works in getting me to improve or not. Or maybe it's not worth improving. I don't know. But again, it's there's simple steps about just getting to know yourself. You don't have to be like, I know myself now. It's a slow process, and sometimes it's as simple as being like, when this happens, this happens. That's big. That's okay. You have to start somewhere. If you want to jumpstart the process, like I tell other people, take the time, make a priority list, understand what's important to you, who is important to you, and that is going to help you to understand why you react in certain ways. Um, and just remember, you don't control everything. I'm not. This isn't about that. This is about understanding why you react certain ways and understanding how you work, so that the stuff you do control, you control better. Um, and there's never a better time than now. I can't stress this enough. Don't wait for later. Now is the best time. And if you need help about thinking about the past, again, there's other videos about this, but you want to just think about the past, understand the emotions if they're there, process them in a healthy way, let them go, and then look at the actual instance or the dilemma or the problem, learn from it, understanding you did it to the best of your ability in that moment. You couldn't have done any better. Then let it go. Don't hang yourself up on it. Don't just get stuck on it. How could you be so dumb? How could you done? No, it's not. It's pointless. Just let it go. You did the best you could for that time. Learn from it, move on. And in reference to the future, don't stress about things that you can't do right now, that you have no power over. Schedule it, plan it, and then do it when the time comes. And if you can't do anything about it now, then don't think about it. Focus on the now. Enjoy where you're at right now. Enjoy the moment, the good times that you have now. And if you're not having good times, schedule those good times. You need to be enjoying yourself. You need to also be going to the gym, working out, learning, growing, doing the hard work. But just as much as you have to do that, you have to enjoy yourself. So schedule both things. And again, you're just striving to know yourself, to accept who you are, and to love yourself no matter what. No matter what happens, you're good enough and you are going to get better. Only then can you really share love, what I believe real love is, with somebody else, and that's beautiful and that's great. And then you can also, the better you do this, the stronger you are. So the less likely other people are going to derail you on the path you want to go, and just make you feel bad, because you're going to know yourself better and you're going to be able to process that. So at the same time, the stronger you get, the better you'll be able to help other people. And just remember, all this underlying stuff is helping you see the bigger picture. It's helping you to consider, yourself in that bigger picture, and your environment and how you react in that environment, and what you can do in your world to control yourself to be who you want to be. Um, and once you finish the first part of the program and you're full, you're happy, this is going to help you stay there. And once you finish the second part and you are the person you want to be with other people, it's going to help you maintain that as well, because and maybe even get better at that, and really understand the smaller elements of that. And ultimately, once you figure out what you love to do for other people, is going to help you keep grounded there. A lot of times it's very easy in that situation to look for other people's approval or other people acknowledgement or love or whatever it might be, because you give them this thing. But it keeps you grounded and understanding you're not doing this thing for another person because of something they're giving you. You're doing it because you love the act of giving it to them. And that it's a little work, but it's constant work to make sure you're still there. Um, and let's see. Again, the last thing I want to end with is there's no better time than now. Do it now. Even if you are doing it poorly, do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't think that you've tried it before and you can't do it. Just 5 minutes every day. Start your day. Base yourself on gratitude. And if you're thinking about other people, base yourself with empathy, and then move to 2 a day. And again, they just have to be 5 minutes in the beginning, 5 minutes at the end, and it's going to help you understand who you are. If you like the video, you think it could help you or somebody else, please forward it along. You can follow us. Our channel is Cultum Vita. It's on most social media, and thanks for watching. See you next time.